Grey's Anatomy, everybody. Perhaps more than any other show on TV today, Grey's Anatomy is the one that, when you mention it, practically forces conversationalists to replay, "That show is still on?" I've seen it happen countless times to myself and to the dedicated troop of people I know who still watch the show without fail every week. The question is always asked with its condescension, not just intact but proudly on display. There is still in the detractors' voices a certainty that something so populist, so long running, must have long ago caved to an inevitable decline in quality or relevance. But nothing could be more wrong. In fact, Grey's Anatomy quality has strengthened and deepened over time, and its supposed frivolity is one of the great myths of our current viewing era. The generally accepted superficial understanding of Grey's Anatomy is this. It premiered in 2005 as a mid-season Kirk on ABC, as the first show by an ambitious creative force named Shonda Rhimes. The early reception of Grey's matched its theme song at the time. Because of the light fun of its medical cases and the twist that quite literally began its storyline, the young, beautiful intern Meredith Grey has a one-night stand with Dr. Drake McDreamy Shepherd, who turns out to be the attending brain surgeon at the hospital where she works. The full impact of Grey's ethnically diverse casting was somewhat softened. However, deeply embedded in the show, it was over the years Grey's has introduced us to an ever widening cast of characters from various backgrounds, cultures, and sexual landscapes. This, in turn, made the show's importance easy for certain critics to dismiss. Here was a program that took the serious tone of hit like ER and turned it into feel good entertainment. And because of the focus of the show was interns, not full fledged doctors, it brought youthfulness to the proceeding, youthfulness that often misread as a lack of gravity. After all, the interns of Grey's were not what we think of when we imagine doctors. We think of focused professionals, fully formed and assured, and above all, never wrong about anything that they may be doing in a hospital room or on an operating table. But these versions of medical professionals made plenty of mistakes. In the most memorable early example, the fledgy, nervous George O'Malley earns the dubious nicknames "007" because his errors almost led to the death of the first person on whom he performs surgery. This made for diverting television, but it also subconsciously played to our worst fears. What if we went to the hospital with an emergency and were treated by people who might very well kill us with their incompetence? The subconscious reaction from many was to treat the show as it were mere fantasy, a trifle. But over the course of its 2012 seasons, a crucial part of the show's DNA is largely overlooked when people discuss its content. Grey's Anatomy, both the show itself and the narrative that it tells, is the story of a business well run and successful despite the numerous challenges it has faced. And to tell this story, Grey's had kept evolving creatively over time. This is because, more so than anything, Grey is the result of Shonda Rhimes' particular worldview and an innovator in the medium of TV. Indeed, back in 2012, when Rhymes appeared on Oprah's Next Chapter, she stated quite plainly, I think I'm most proud of the fact that I have figured out how to exist as both a creative person, an artist, and a businesswoman, and a manager too. This is something Rhymes gets at it in her wonderful and best-selling Memoir Creative Manual. Year of Yes, and it's one of the reasons why the character of Christina Young, perhaps the ultimate embodiment of aptitude mixed with levity on the show, is the character closest to her actual personality. The fact that Sandra Oh never won an Emmy for her portrayal of Christina Young, one of the most compelling and challenging characterization in the history of TV, continues to be an oversight of mind-boggling proportion. Thanks of the coordination and sheer acumen that must go into casting a show with this many storylines, characters, relationships, and medical emergencies, stuffing the show with all of its actors, writers, directors, and producers, is in an and of itself a gargantuan undertaking and speaks to Rhymes' considerable know-how as the head of Grey's Anatomy. More importantly, the show's creative content reflects this. Throughout the series, the fate of the hospital that provides its setting has been tested and contested. In a memorable plotline, in season 5, the hospital was forced, due to financial hardship, to emerge with another Seattle based establishment. The unusing emerge led to the renamed Seattle Grace Mercy West. The same plotline included the layoff of countless nurses and other staff, a harrowing occurrence that spoke to the prevailing economic climate at the time. And later, after one of the series' most prominent, intentionally shocking, and controversial events, a plane crash that claimed two long standing and beloved characters' lives and led to a potential legal nightmare for their once employer to the hospital and had to be bought out of a subset of its most important doctors, who then formed a kind of all-stars board of bosses. This was art mimicking the complexity of the business apparatus that had produced it. In other words, all of these machinations with the plots seem to nod to the daunting task of running a network TV success like Grey in the first place. The story is so must watch. You have to give it a try. It's amazing, addictive. So give it a try. Good luck. Enjoy watching it and let me know what you think about it. See you next video.